Hello everyone, this is Charlie with Battlers Connection. Today I'm bringing you a new product overview. This is the Combat Gear, the new Multi-B. We'd like to go over and give you a little brief overview and some samples of the basic functions of this circuit. To give you a little bit of background for this circuit, the circuit was designed with this main function of reducing your wiring in your ship to dramatically reduce potential problems of cold solder joints due to oversize and wiring harness or excessive wiring in the ship. This particular circuit comprises of two dual cannon firing circuits and one brush motor pump circuit. So basically, if you've been using the current Combat Gear pump circuit or firing circuits, you know that the simplicity of those particular items. Well, this just combines those items to give you a total of 3 functions in one board. As you'll see, there's 3 servo leads. So basically 3 channels are covered with this circuit. You would have your pump circuit, which is right, as you can see, the heat sink and the output port right here. You have the dual firing circuits, which are these 4 XT30 connectors. They have the built-in flyback diode, so you will no longer need to add the diode in your wire for your solenoid, etc. And as you can see, comparing it to the solenoid, it is a rather small circuit. So a really small footprint to occupy 3 functioning channels and to be a power bus within your ship. It's a great deal to be able to have excess room to reduce components dramatically and wiring and weight. So we'll start with left to right to give you an overview. The first is an XT30. This would be through power. And when I say through power, this would be your battery power coming in from your batteries. It's an XT90 connector. So you would have a through power to this connector, so positive and negative. And this would go to your test switch board. If you're currently using the Combat Gear test switch boards, you know that it requires an input power. So you would be able to wire these directly to that board to supply your offline power to your solenoids. There's capabilities of covering 4 quadrants. You have P3 and 4, which would be this servo lead, so you can use it in aileron or elevator channel, whichever your preference is, and P5 and 6, which would be this servo lead, and that, of course, again, is aileron or elevator, your preference. There is a through power jumper that powers your your receiver via right here. So removing the jumper, it cuts out power to your receiver, so that would mean that you would need a separate power source, BEC, etc. Applying the jumper would take through power from the battery, so it would be unregulated, and passes it through these servo leads to power your receiver. Bear in mind that the circuit is designed to have a voltage input of 5 volts all the way up to 15 volts. The 15 volts is simply due to the limitations of some of the circuitry on board, that it can only withstand 15 volts. So you would be limited to that factor. So if you're going to use anything higher than, I would say, 7.2 volts, which would be common for a receiver, you need to verify with your receiver manufacturer and all of its associated electronics, such as servos. If you're going to run other components off of your receiver, you would need to make sure that they're capable of carrying the higher voltage. I would assume at this point that most people are not going to power their receiver if they're running that higher. So if you're going to run the higher voltage, such as 9.6 or 12 or 14 volts, you would have to remove the jumper. For this demonstration, I'm going to leave the jumper on because we're going to be powering it with a standard life 6-volt pack here. Coming up from the side here, as noted, this is your XT90. The power bus basically on this board is capable of carrying up to 90 amps, which is far exceeding anything in our hobby at this point. You have 3 XT60 through power connections on here. This allows you for auxiliary components, an ESC. It can be brushed or brushless. It does not matter. So just this, all these are power output ports here. That's it. And they would be rated for up to 60 amps per channel. The very last one here would be your pump output channel. So from your pump circuit, this would be your output port to supply directly to your bilge pump. Today we're just going to connect it up with a couple components on here. Sorry, I can't connect all of the items on here. There's just not enough free space within the video to be able to see it. So I just connect up a solenoid. As you note, there's no diode on it because it already has it on there. We'll have them on. This would be the bilge pump, wiring directly to the pump. We have an ESC. We just connect it to one of the ports there. And as you see, we still have two open ports here. We're going to pretend or assume that these are already connected to solenoids or running back to your test board circuits. The two available XT60 connectors can allow you to run a second ESC, occupying one and leaving you a spare port left over. So if you want to run two pumps, you can use a separate combat gear test or pump switch for that circuit. So as we have here, this is just a basic connection. I'm going to connect power to it and without the transmitter on. So you can see that it has a built-in failsafe. So with a loss of transmitter signal or plugging it in without the transmitter on will not activate any function on the board. All right, now we're going to connect the battery. And as you see, there's no activated LEDs on here. And you can see that the loss of signal is blinking on this ESC. There is no link light lit up on the receiver, and you can see that the transmitter is not powered. So the really nice feature of this particular function is if you sync or you go out of range and you lose transmitter signal, all of your components are going to shut down. The circuit is going to basically lock out and shut your pump off. Benefits of the pump shutting off is it's not going to wear your brushes out while you're sitting on the bottom waiting to be retrieved. The Canon system's going to shut down, so it prevents any unwillful shooting of somebody across the lake because you ran out of range of your radio. Any potential possibilities at this point. So we'll kind of go through now and turn the radio on. We'll wait for link, and you'll see an LED that should illuminate right here. As you see, it did. This stopped flashing, showing that it now has link. We have no LEDs on other than the green light. The green LED on here is basically showing that on the regulated or the circuit side of this circuit here is powered. That's all it means. So it doesn't mean that the functions are going to work or any of that nature. It just means that the LED is lit and showing that the circuit is powered. So you could have, potentially you're not connected to a receiver, however. So at this point, we'll go through and show function. You see the LED lights up, and you can hear the solenoid clicking, showing that it's being activated. The pump circuit LED would be right there, and you see the LED illuminates. So this is a basic function of the multi-B. You can disconnect power here. Show the receiver off. So all in all, this particular circuit is compact, lightweight, and it provides a huge list of features that allows you to reduce your ship's wiring, keep things modular. And what I mean by modular is that when you purchase an ESC and you bring it, let's just say that you have a bad ESC or any of that nature, you simply just plug a new one in. It's that simple. You just put another one in, or you're going to replace your pump, you just replace it and put a new one in. You don't have to desolder anything. You keep everything connected. Just simply move, putting new items in there. And or you can take this particular board and put it in another ship. So the whole key principle was to keep things modular. And if anyone knows me as a combat captain and a builder, I tend to try to build things reliable, and I like things that if they become unreliable, I can simply replace it within minutes, because it either gnats or most events, things generally happen right at the worst time. So you want to try to keep things fast. So when you receive your multi-B, it'll have a full line of connectors. It'll be the opposite ends, so you'll be able to wire your components to it. So you'll have a complete kit, wire everything up, and it allows you to keep your components modular. I highly recommend building things modular in your ship, simply for troubleshooting and for simplicity of repairing it when you're at at a battle itself. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop me an email on any of the combat email forums or on RC Warship Combat, or you can send me an email at battlersconnection@gmail.com. Thank you.